all those.
And up here on the hill is where the barn used to be. It's not there anymore. But it was up here a little bit away from the house. We'll walk over there in a minute, see if there's anything left of it. The orchard used to be back over in there. And then back down, of course, to the house. Up here along the road in the front yard, there's some pecan trees, and Pop said they used to never have any pecans, but this year they are loaded. A little early yet. Of course, over in this area here, it's the fields where you can see that they've been baling some hay. And you can see up here the old persimmon tree by where the barn used to be. And next to that's the cherry tree. And down by the house there's a black walnut tree. And you got pear trees. There's another walnut tree. It's covered with walnuts still. And the apple trees used to be right down through here, but I don't see any apple trees left. I remember where the apple trees were. And here's the house from the end. And that little building out on the end down here is the kitchen. The original house was a log house right here. And later added on to it, and that's the kitchen. And I don't know what this is out here. The old smokehouse used to be somewhere down in this area.
The chimney used to be the old. That's why they threw this wheelbarrow in. You got a wheel on?
It's ready to work. And don't tell me we've got to put that in my car and take it back and put it in your shop. The reason they threw it away, I think, is because it's probably got a big hole in it.
Well, no, it's not.
It could be fixed, huh?
Somebody, the tire is not even flat. Look at that.
It's ready to go to work.
Why in the world they do that for?
And here's a fig tree. And the back of the kitchen. And the bathroom, what was added on to later. An inside bathroom. About where I'm standing is where the outhouse used to be somewhere. Holly tree. And back over in this direction is where the vegetable garden was. The grandma used to attend all the time. And there's the fieldstone or rock foundation. A porch that goes up to the kitchen steps. And that goes down to the cellar where they used to keep stuff cool. You can see some of the original house right in here. These big beams. And that original house was here before the folks moved over here from Alabama. So no telling how old the original house is. So Pop says, well, they moved over here in 1919, and this original house was here a long time before they got here. It was just a one-room log house which they added on to. You can see how it's chinked up between the logs with plaster, and
I think we moved out here in 1923.
or 1923 when they moved here. The original chimney was made out of rock, and they since replaced that with brick. This went down into the cellar, which you needed, of course, for tornadoes and to store stuff in. You can see some of the bracing under the whole porch here. A big long porch with a swing on the end, and that beam has held that swing up ever since I can remember. And of course the porch is still outfitted with rocking chairs and the swing, which is of course required. You can't have a porch without rocking chairs on them. And as you can see, it's a beautiful fall day, and the temperature is about 60 something, 62 or 3. Here's a great big old pecan tree. Pop says this one always has pecans, and it still does. As you can see, this one is loaded. A little bit early for them. And then there's this monster oak tree here, which right at the corner of the house, which has just grown and grown, and it's hanging up over the top of the house. It is tremendous. That thing's got to be 70 feet tall, and it's been topped already.
4 or 5 feet in diameter.
This is the new part of the house. It's been added on. And then, of course, the upstairs. I used to stay upstairs when I stayed down here. And here's some the local mode of transportation here. All it needs is a horse. The old pump, of course, that's been replaced by the well. The well house is back in the back here, which has an electric pump now. No more having to pump up. Pop says the well here is about 100 to 120 feet deep or something. It took quite a bit of pumping to get that going, I'm sure.
Water will. And then I told him,
Get up here and pump it, see if it works.
Maybe he bored it to pour another.
Water comes out, it'll be a miracle.
Yeah, even if it wasn't, it don't eat. No, it can't even go up and down.
It needs a little grease, probably.
No, yeah, it's frozen. Yeah.
Anyway, there's an antique for a collector sometime.
Yeah, kept up pretty good.
Looks like the roof's in good shape. This is the back of the house. Back in the back of the bedrooms. That's the back stoops. I remember you used to have to go out here and then go down yonder to where that silver thing is to the outhouse. And didn't like to do that at night. So you had a Johnny pot by the bed. Here's a hay cutter,
Lawnmower.
a lawnmower Pop calls it, hay mower. And then there's somewhere out here is an old hay rake probably. But this stuff just kind of sits around. You used to pull that probably behind a tractor there. Not much different than the one you'd pull with mules. Here's some more stuff. And then Pop says there's more. Here's a
Another wheelbarrow.
uh-oh, another wheelbarrow. Is this one any good, Pop?
I want to see.
Want to keep this one too?
I want to see if it.
Yeah, they had a couple extra wheelbarrows here and there.
Oh, this is torn apart.
Uh-oh, this is not a keeper. Of course, you could take the body off of this one and stick it on the base of the other one and have you a wheelbarrow, Pop.
This has got wood, too much wood in it.
There's a wasp nest right there too, be careful.
I thought they had no wasp in it.
Okay. Yeah, well, so this is a modern newfangled wheelbarrow here. It doesn't hold up very well. See the new pond back over there in the background. We're going to go walking up to where the original pond or the old pond was and then walk around some. Where you saw the old stuff, this is the way they do it now. They cut it and then they use this thing here to kind of rake it up in a row, and then they run over it with the baler, which rolls everything up into these big rolls. You see some pretty wildflowers. A great old big cedar tree. And how about this for a persimmon tree? There should be a possum in that tree. There probably are possums in here at night. They've already taken care of. Pop says the possums already got them off the lower limbs. They work their way up.
Cherry tree. Now, Marshall, when I tell about the cherry tree at the old pond, that's where on the 4th of July, 66, we gathered some cherries off of that, and I made some cherry wine a little bit. Gonna need to none of it later, but Marshall wanted to. And the top of that, way over yonder, is another persimmon tree. See the persimmons in that top tree way beyond there? And this is the old pond, the original pond.
When there were a lot of cows on this land here, there wasn't a blade of grass anywhere close to the pond. It was just mud around the pond. The pond was clear. And they kept everything pretty well either eaten or tromped down. And now you can barely find where the pond is. GL and I used to come up here and shoot frogs and gig them. Cut off their little legs and fry them. Matter of fact, I remember camping up here one night. We camped out by the pond. I bet there's still frogs in here somewhere. I'll go look. There are frogs out here. There's one right there. Just sitting. Sitting in the water waiting for a snake to come eat him.